Zodiac horoscope. Characteristics of the zodiac signs. The zodiac horoscope and description of the characteristics of the zodiac signs are considered very popular in European civilization. It is difficult to find a person who does not know his zodiac sign. And even people who claim that they don't believe in horoscopes somehow know the characteristics of the sign of their mother-in-law or wife. No one knows the exact origin of Western astrology. It appeared around the 1st century A.D., and has not undergone any significant changes since then. It arose as a pagan science and developed in the occult mainstream of life, having a pronounced religious connotation. In ancient times, people believed that the gods lived in heaven, and by observing the sky they became closer to them. Ancient astrologers established that life on our planet is subject to the rhythms of movement of celestial bodies. For many centuries, the priests observed the stars and planets, and accumulated enormous knowledge, which was based on the zodiac horoscope. The basis for the construction of Western astrology and the characteristics of the zodiac horoscope is the 12 constellations of the zodiac, which represent special groups of stars. Ancient astrologers, after long observations, found out that all events occurring on Earth are very closely connected with the solar sanctuary. They calculated 12 cycles corresponding to the 12 zodiacal constellations that the solar disk passes through during the year. The path that the sun takes along the constellations is called the zodiac circle in Western astrology, and the 12 constellations are the 12 signs of the zodiac. Each zodiac sign reflected cyclical characteristics with different features, which took on a reflection of the state of the subtle world and the universe. The zodiac horoscope consists of 12 zodiac signs, the characteristics of which depend on the person's date of birth. To be more precise, the zodiacal constellation at the moment the sun is in it, on the date of birth of a person. The characteristics of the zodiac signs in the horoscope reflect the fundamental character traits of a particular zodiac sign. Therefore, for a more detailed horoscope, astrologers are ordered an individual horoscope, which, among other things, takes into account the influence of the planets at the time of birth. In the zodiac horoscope, the characteristics of the zodiac signs are associated with the 4 earthly elements, which impart certain energies to the zodiac signs. Western astrology identifies the elements: fire, Leo, Aries, Sagittarius, water, Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer, air, Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, and earth, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. Each sign is endowed with certain energy characteristics, properties and temperament. As a result, the Western zodiac horoscope takes into account many different parameters: the influence of the position of the sun in the passage of 12 constellations, and the energetic influence of the planets. The characteristics of the zodiac signs also depend on the earthly elements, which add additional properties to it. The accumulated knowledge of Western astrology gives us the opportunity to more deeply understand ourselves and the subtle world around us, which is hidden from the gaze of our eyes. Please do not forget that this is general information on the zodiac and you need to look at your personal natal chart, and for this you need to know the date, place, and exact time of your birth. And if you know your natal chart well, then look also at your moon and ascendant signs. Aries, characteristics of the sign. Sign period: March 21st to April 20th. Planet: Mars. Element: fire. Sign property: authoritarian, focused. Cardinal Aries is the sign that opens the zodiac horoscope. With his stubbornness and hot temper, a representative of the fire element is amazing. He always goes ahead without thinking about the consequences. The strength and determination of this sign allows him to achieve his goal even under very unfavorable circumstances. Aries has an unbending character. He is always confident that he is right and does not try to subject to any analysis what is happening around him. Often these properties of the fiery nature harm Aries, since he tends to focus his efforts on objects that are absolutely not worthy of attention, while the real benefit passes him by. Thanks to natural optimism, Aries easily gets through difficult times. The only thing that can unsettle him is criticism from people close to him. Encouragement and admiration are what this sign needs in order to feel the balance of internal forces. Aries man, characteristics: the Aries man is the embodiment of energy and self-confidence. He denies any authority and power. Following someone else's orders is unacceptable to him. Aries always knows what is best to do and behaves very assertively in any endeavor. It is quite difficult for such a person to sit still. His brain constantly generates fantastic ideas for conquering the world. His plans can be so extravagant and devoid of foundation that he does not find the support he needs from those around him. Then he boldly gets down to business and often achieves his goal, causing great surprise to his loved ones. The only obstacle to achieving the goal of an Aries man is the loss of passion. The characteristics of an Aries man define this owner of a fiery temperament as an eternal child, constantly searching for goals for new achievements. Although outwardly he is quite a businesslike person, those close to him are well aware of his spontaneity and frivolity. It is impossible to criticize such a man, since any comments cause cruel denial in him, although over time he may find a certain amount of truth in the advice he receives. The most powerful contradiction that is reflected in the characteristics of the Aries man is an increased level of demands on others, combined with unshakable confidence in his perfection. In addition, this man miraculously combines charismatic friendliness and uncontrollable temper. In a love relationship, an Aries man can make his lady of his heart feel his exclusivity. His crazy actions allow him to gain recognition from the one he chooses. Aries always has enough fans, but he will never notice the one who openly declares her encroachments on the freedom of this fiery man. On the contrary, the excitement that arises in the process of his one-sided courtship is the best love potion for an Aries. The characteristics of a man of the Aries sign testify to his unconditional desire to take a leadership position in a relationship. The wife must strictly follow his instructions, otherwise a stream of volcanic lava will fall on her every day in the form of the wrath of her chosen one. Perhaps the wife of Aries will have to master the laws of worldly wisdom at an accelerated pace so that their union is harmonious. Aries woman, characteristics. The nature of the Aries woman is quite complex. This is manifested in her love for various kinds of games with representatives of the opposite sex. She often seems cold and indifferent, but this is just a deceptive maneuver that allows her to lure the man she likes into her trap. After some time, her temperament becomes obvious, and she fully armed begins to conquer the fortress in the person of her potential chosen one. Just like the moods of this fiery woman, her desires are constantly changing. It will be quite difficult for a man who is not too energetic to build a relationship with an Aries woman. Emotionality, which is determined by the characteristics of the Aries woman, is sometimes too assertive and can frighten off many men. This fiery lady is very capricious. This type does not tolerate objections and tries to impose his opinion on everyone, which, due to excessive vehemence, is not always correct. Anyone who cannot resist such unbridled energy is better off staying away. Since the Aries woman is very aggressive in her desire to achieve what she wants, the effect of an unsuccessful interaction with her can be very sad. The characteristics of the Aries woman indicate that she leads a very active lifestyle. She successfully uses the excess energy in various sports or, for example, dancing. The Aries lady's cheerfulness knows no bounds, as does her love for sweet flattery, because she is always confident in her exceptional irresistibility. The family life of this woman will be very stormy. Any man married to an Aries must be prepared for frequent outbursts of anger, mood swings, causeless jealousy, revelry and extravagance. Quiet family happiness is not for her, because she is used to going through life, loudly declaring herself and is ready to morally suppress everyone who stands in her way. Sexual compatibility of Aries sign. The youthful maximalism of Aries goes well with the unbridled energy of the fire signs, Leo and Sagittarius. After 30 years, Aries becomes more down-to-earth and needs a practical partner, such as Taurus or Virgo. During this period, he acquires the skill of concentrating energy on truly important things. Manifestations of Aries character become less impetuous and spontaneous. After 40 years, Aries can make a good match for Libra or Gemini, since a period of spiritual and intellectual self-improvement begins. Taurus, characteristics of the sign. Sign period: April 21st to May 21st. Planet: Venus. Element: Earth. Sign property: stable, permanent. It is difficult to imagine a more persistent, hardworking and constancy-oriented sign. The characteristics of the Taurus sign show that he is noble and independent. He tries to achieve everything in life on his own, without receiving the slightest pleasure from random luck or anyone else's help. Taurus has enormous inner strength, which allows him to survive even in the most difficult times. However, with such extraordinary data, this representative of the earthly element often remains inactive, waiting for the best moment, and often misses good opportunities. Taurus is not prone to momentary impulses. On the contrary, everything in his life should be clearly planned. Any force majeure circumstances can drive such a person crazy, although outwardly he will not show a shadow of embarrassment and will continue to move forward, no matter what. One of the negative characteristics of Taurus's character is his indecisiveness and slowness of action. Yes, of course, this person is used to doing everything carefully, but there are times when you can't hesitate, and making a quick decision is the key to success. Taurus needs a sufficient amount of time to weigh all the pros and cons and, based on careful logical reasoning, make the only right choice. The opportunity to think alone on certain topics is very important for this sign. In this way he puts his thoughts in order and restores his energy supply. The characteristic of Taurus shows that he is full of kindness. He is gentle, but at the same time he can persistently try to impose his opinion on others or influence people by his example. At the same time, it is almost impossible to influence Taurus, but if he internally agrees with the position of the interlocutor, then subsequently he may well pass off his thoughts as his own. Lying for Taurus is an unnatural phenomenon, but in exceptional cases he can resort to this weapon. It is interesting that his speeches can inspire boundless confidence. For an earthly person, the opinions of others are very important, so Taurus tries to look good and generally tries to show that his standard of living is higher than it actually is. The constancy of Taurus is amazing. He is very devoted to his family and friends. Any changes in life, including a change of environment, will make him despondent. Taurus man. Characteristics: a man born under the sign of Taurus is reliable, calm and reasonable, and to a certain extent conservative. However, this side of his personality does not exclude the inspired romanticism and sentimentality that Venus endowed him with. The characteristics of a Taurus man say that such a partner can be gentle and attentive. Having chosen an object of affection for himself, the Taurus man will do everything possible to win the hand and heart of his chosen one. Taurus can court like no one else. Restaurants, flowers, excellent gifts for any occasion are not a complete list of his arsenal. In love, Taurus does not always remain true to his love of stability. Sometimes he gets carried away too much, and the end turns out to be sad. Taurus's stubbornness also manifests itself in the choice of a life partner. Despite the obvious incompatibility of characters, he will go to the end in this relationship. No matter what his friends say, he resists criticism more and more. Family is a permanent concept for him, so it is quite difficult to force him to divorce, and his feelings about this will be very strong. Taurus is a wonderful father and an excellent husband. He treats his children with great tenderness, and loves to pamper his wife with gifts, although he remains sober in financial matters and always remembers about tomorrow. As a rule, a Taurus man knows how to earn money. He is ready to work tirelessly, compensating for the lack of imagination or talent with remarkable effort. A man born under the sign of Taurus is physically strong and confident in his sexuality. His masculinity presupposes an appropriate attitude on the part of his wife. Such a husband needs to be well fed and surrounded with care and attention. The characteristics of the Taurus man show that he cannot stand scandalous women, as well as those who can make sarcastic remarks about him in front of everyone. At the same time, he is the real owner and master of his home. If the wife has sufficient wisdom, then she will not find a more tolerant, gentle and caring man. Taurus woman. Characteristics: the Taurus woman is the embodiment of femininity. She has subtle intuition and the ability to seduce. She is always elegant, looks good and does not make much effort to seduce a man. It comes very easily to her. For all her external weakness, such a woman carries within herself enormous strength of spirit. She is very smart, but does not like to demonstrate it, so those around her often underestimate her intellectual abilities. This earthly lady is always calm and reasonable. Her common sense is surprisingly combined with emotionality. She is an introvert, so no matter what cats scratch at her soul, the Taurus woman will never show it. Thanks to her intuitive sense, she has a good understanding of people, immediately recognizing deception, although she always tries to find positive traits in any person. If they treat her sincerely, she will definitely reciprocate. The Taurus woman has a very characteristic feature. She is able to find a common language with completely different people, as if adapting to their aura. She will not offend those people who are unpleasant to Taurus or enter into open confrontation with them, but will simply try to avoid communication. The Taurus woman acutely feels the need to be near a real man, strong and self-confident. Despite the high level of self-control, this lady can be capricious and tearful. At such moments she needs the support of her partner. Outwardly fragile and sophisticated, the Taurus woman always stubbornly pursues her goal, without fear of any difficulties. Her tenacity is also evident in her family. She will try with all her might to maintain peace in the house, showing unusually strong affection and devotion to her husband. At times overly persistent and stubborn, this representative of the earthly element will always support her partner in difficult times. Life together with her is stable and reliable. She is becoming a good mother. It is important that when the children grow up, she skillfully maintains friendly relations with them. Home for Taurus is a holy place. Possessing a refined Venusian taste, the Taurus woman makes her nest very cozy and beautiful. The love of luxury and money is no stranger to her. Such a woman is rarely poor. If there is not enough money in the family, she will not complain about fate, but will get to work, no matter how hard it turns out to be. A man who appreciates the qualities of this representative of the Taurus sign will be very lucky indeed. Sexual compatibility of the Taurus sign. Representatives of the signs Capricorn and Virgo are well suited for Taurus. They all belong to the earth element, so mutual understanding is ensured here. However, Virgo may seem too cold to Taurus, and Capricorn, despite its reliability and determination, is not sexually compatible with Taurus. The most refined and mature Taurus can make a good pair with Gemini and Aries. The former will give the earthly partner the opportunity for intellectual development, and the latter will make up for the lack of energy. Deep, idealistic relationships and excellent sexual compatibility are guaranteed for Taurus with Scorpio. Gemini, characteristics of the sign. Sign period: May 22nd to June 21st. Planet: Mercury element, air sign. Property: changeable, fickle. Any representative of the Gemini sign is a very interesting person. His characterization is distinguished by some peculiarity, incredible duality. He can be both a joker and a very serious person at the same time. Only Gemini can so easily assess a situation from diametrically opposed points of view. At the same time, this sign is characterized by inconstancy in all manifestations. Geminis fascinate with their charm. Such people are often called the soul of the company, since their sociability and love for the free transfer of knowledge are very strong. Many people are unable to cope with the duality of Gemini, unfairly mistaking it for hypocrisy. However, it is not. Geminis can deceive others, it's true. However, at the same time they are deceiving themselves. The life of Gemini is very hectic. It would seem that fate itself constantly gives these people tests, strengthening their will and spirit. Gemini man, characteristics. A man born under the sign of Gemini is usually very talented. His extraordinary mind and abilities allow this airy person to achieve everything easily and naturally. A cheerful disposition accompanies him even in the most difficult moments. The characteristics of the Gemini man suggest that movement becomes the basis of life. Not having the habit of conducting long discussions, this person takes everything into his own hands, trying not to miss the opportunities that life gives. The Gemini man sincerely believes that the main thing in business is the beginning, and the rest will follow. It is interesting that this is precisely how a representative of the air element reaches good heights in his career and relationships. Geminis are often dispensable and forgetful, which is explained by a constant change of hobbies and an inability to concentrate on something important. However, such a person is always surrounded by friends, and loneliness does not threaten him under any circumstances. The characteristics of Gemini men testify to the unsurpassed dexterity that this sign achieves in communicating with the opposite sex. He charms one lady after another, leaving them in an effort to find the one who will satisfy his demanding taste. The woman that a Gemini man chooses must be intellectual, in a sense, belong to a special breed, because not only the physical shell is important to him, but also the ability to hold a conversation and the possibility of mutual spiritual development. Geminis are not inclined to create significant savings. Rather, on the contrary, it is not difficult for this sign to part with money. He loves to pamper his loved ones with gifts, and becomes more of a friend to his children than a demanding and strict father. As already mentioned, the Gemini man chooses his life partner for a long time and carefully. He takes marriage seriously, checking his relationship with his chosen one for as long as possible. The family does not tolerate it when they try to control him, although he himself is a real owner. A woman who once neglected his trust will never again be able to return to a happy, harmonious relationship with Gemini. Gemini woman. Characteristics. The characteristics of a Gemini woman are determined by the lively mind and sociability of this lady. She is able to pick up the key to the heart and mind of any interlocutor, but she herself opens up to few. An airy woman is fickle. Because of this feature, she often gives up what she started if she becomes interested in something else. At the same time, she tends to carefully analyze her actions, weighing all the positive and negative arguments, but is usually not completely sure of the decision she has made. This is explained by the fact that the Gemini woman herself often cannot understand what she really needs. The characteristics of Gemini women indicate that it is vital for this lady to be surrounded by people who correspond to her intellectual development. Without such company, she may wither away and become depressed. The airy lady prefers those activities that require high concentration of energy, a short but powerful push. She lives with the awareness of her special role among other people, so she tries to help everyone and give practical advice. However, her tendency to criticize and unfairly evaluate the actions of others may not please all of her interlocutors. The partner of a woman born under the sign of Gemini is not always able to understand what she really is like, because her nature is so changeable. However, one thing is clear. A man who marries this airy woman must be prepared for her search for adventure and intolerance for any restriction of freedom. Along with this, he must have such qualities as high intellectual development and considerable willpower. Sexual compatibility of the Gemini sign. Gemini is the only representative of the zodiac circle who is able to find a common language with all 12 signs. However, in youth, the best compatibility is achieved with Libra and Aquarius, since all three signs have lightness, as well as a desire for freedom and a constant search for something new. At a more mature age, the characteristics of Gemini will change into a more stable one, which Taurus can provide in the energy that Aries gives. After 40 years, the union with Sagittarius forms an ideal relationship, involving joint achievement of the heights of intellectual development. Cancer, characteristic of the sign. Sign period: June 22 to July 23. Planet, Moon element, water sign. Property: authoritarian, goal-oriented. Cancer belongs to the type of very sensitive people with a fine mental organization. He is acutely aware of any disapproving glance in his direction, and is very worried about this. At the same time, this sign carries within itself enormous power, which gives it the opportunity to influence people, purposefully or not, conveying to them its mood. Periods of his life, painted in melancholy tones, are replaced by periods when his charm is at its best. At such moments, everyone is surprised by Cancer's excellent sense of humor and friendliness. The characteristics of Cancer show us that this sign is not one of those who goes ahead on the way to achieving their cherished goal. He is more impressed by patient and careful waiting for the most opportune moment to show his abilities. In addition, this inhabitant of the water element has a tendency to create reserves for a rainy day. Having a solid bank account, Cancer feels comfort and stability, but thoughtless wastefulness plunges him into shock. Cancer usually has a fairly high opinion of himself, which does not prevent him from being quite noble and selfless in his relationships with people. Cancer man. Characteristics. The characteristics of a Cancer man determine the influence of the moon on the internal state of this person. At times he is friendly and gallant, but there are times when Cancer becomes blacker than a cloud, because everything seems meaningless and insignificant to him. A representative of the water element is capable of inflating any problems to gigantic proportions. Even if a momentary resolution of a difficult situation is impossible, he considers it necessary to indulge in feelings about this. This sometimes alienates people close to him. You cannot have ambiguous conversations with such a man or make fun of his traits in any way. He will not tolerate such an attitude, and the interlocutor will be included in the ranks of ill-wishers. To realize a sense of personal security, Cancer requires constant positive attention from others. Compliments, love and admiration are what will make him happy. Deep attachment to the father's house and especially to the mother is another feature that is indicated by the characteristics of the Cancer man. There are often cases when this man, having not achieved harmony in his relationship with his chosen one, returns to the care of his mother. In relationships with the woman he loves, Cancer shows extraordinary dedication. Having found the one for whom he can move mountains, he will become an affectionate and caring spouse. In addition, Cancer is an excellent father who tries to provide his children with a bright, financially stable future. If the Cancer wife shows extravagance, conflicts in the family are possible. Cancer woman. Characteristics. The Cancer woman is outwardly quite good-natured and open in communication, and no one suspects what is really going on in the soul of this lady. She rarely lets anyone into her mysterious world, because she is constantly tormented by her suspiciousness. She takes any careless statement too seriously. This girl constantly thinks that everyone thinks badly of her, and this causes her deep mental suffering. The characteristics of the Cancer woman indicate that she is quite vindictive and, after many years, can reproach her partner for the grievances he has caused. A representative of the water element is prone to reflection. Her nostalgic impulses do not always find understanding in the eyes of her chosen one. She likes to remember the times when she was a child and her parents solved all her problems for her. The Cancer woman is very attached to her family and demands from her husband the same respectful attitude towards her mother and father. The characteristics of a Cancer woman indicate that she is a wonderful wife. When entering into any relationship, this girl expects a marriage proposal from her partner, and having received the status of a wife, she will surround her beloved with attention and care. She is an excellent housewife. The Cancer lady's culinary talent and her ability to make the atmosphere in the house beautiful and cozy knows no bounds. At the same time, the Cancer woman's requirements for a man are clearly defined. She values the stability and reliability of a partner. Short-term relationships cause a strong imbalance in her soul. The Cancer woman dotes on children. Often her offspring grow up spoiled. This lady is very scrupulous in financial matters. She will feel best if she has a bank account and constantly replenishes it. A career does not make much sense to her, but if it seems to her that her husband earns little, she will make every effort to increase her income. Sexual compatibility of the Cancer sign. The youthful years of Cancer are characterized by its positive compatibility with other representatives of the water element, Scorpio and Pisces. Having reached a more mature age, Cancers will find the stability and understanding they need in the person of Taurus and Virgo. After 40 years, Cancers, who have already acquired a certain ability for self-control, will find their happiness in an alliance with purposeful Capricorn. Leo. Characteristics of the sign. Sign period. July 24th to August 23rd. Planet. Sun element. Fire sign. Property. Stable, permanent. Leo is a noble creature. His majestic gait and condescending attitude towards others reveal him as a true king of beasts. The element of fire adds energy and lazy strength to Leo. Leo's self-confidence cannot be compared with the self-confidence of any of the zodiac signs. It is interesting that the ambitions and the characteristics of this sign extend only to the expectation of gifts from fate. Despite his activity, he is not inclined to show particular determination in achieving what he wants. When his life reaches a higher level, Leo takes it for granted. Leo believes that there is no person nearby who would be worthy of criticizing his royal person. Leo also has certain rules when choosing friends. Usually, this fiery person's acquaintances include potentially useful people or business partners. The desire for money and power, as well as the love of luxury, is a distinctive feature of Leo. He is used to evaluating everything around him through the prism of a material basis, and this often destroys him. Leo man. Characteristics. The characteristics of a Leo man born under the sign of the sun show that he craves attention to his person. The audience should admire his exceptionality, without showing a shadow of doubt about his talent, beauty and intelligence. In life, the Leo man chooses the role of a player. He is used to taking everything he is entitled to, without worrying about excess money, clothes, or the attention of women, since this is his element. In order to awaken passion in a man born under the sign of Leo, you need to admire his physical and spiritual qualities every minute. Then Leo will become an unsurpassed lover, husband and father. When a Leo man is looking for a life partner, he tries to win the heart of the most worthy woman. While he is so confident in his irresistibility that he conquers all the girls in the area. In the matter of seducing the one who should share his great destiny with him, Leo is an unsurpassed master. He spares no expense and effort to create a romantic aura of love and passion around his chosen one. Among the obvious disadvantages that define the characteristics of a Leo man are his unbearable jealousy and hot temper. A Leo woman only needs to cast a careless glance to the side, and a major quarrel is guaranteed. Only that representative of the fair sex can build a relationship with him who can instill in him a sense of stability and will be truly devoted to Leo. The Leo man is very proud. Criticizing him is like playing with fire. He is also afraid of being ridiculed and insulted, in his opinion, undeservedly. The characteristics of a Leo man indicate that he is a typical extrovert. Among his qualities are generosity, kind attitude towards the weak and a great love of communication. He has a sense of humor, and less jokes are directed at him. This fiery man can be a good friend and is able to take risks for his loved ones. Leo's marriage will be harmonious if his lady of his heart unravels the laws by which her partner lives. When everything in the house revolves around Leo, he is happy. In such an atmosphere, you cannot find a more tender and loving spouse. Leo woman. Characteristics. A lioness is always confident that she is right. She will not tolerate a man's dominance over her, because she is used to acting by listening only to the voice of her mind. A woman born under the sign of Leo is not difficult to recognize in a crowd. She has a noble grandeur and rather eccentric behavior. The eyes of men are always turned to the lioness, and she believes that everyone around her must be in love with her. The characteristics of a Leo woman testify to her boundless charm. Even if she is confident in her own irresistibility, this lady will not cause the slightest irritation among others, since she has a warm smile and a disarming look. To be fair, it is worth noting that the lioness's conceit is usually not without foundation. These sunny women, as a rule, have beauty and grace combined with a lively mind and innate diplomacy. The characteristics of the Leo woman are a reminder to all men that the lioness cannot be tamed. You can only earn her favor by buying expensive gifts and performing beautiful deeds in her honor. In addition, the man who has become the chosen one of such a lady must be physically attractive, intellectually developed and wealthy enough to surround his beloved with luxury. The characteristics of a Leo woman also speak about her ability to be creative. In the role of a wife and mother, the lioness is magnificent. She is amazingly talented as a hostess. A fiery woman often finds pleasure in creating a beautiful and cozy environment for her home, while sparing no expense on luxury items. Her delicate taste cannot be doubted. However, leaving her career in order to constantly maintain a warm atmosphere in the house is far from her calling. The Leo woman is a queen, and any man should know this. Sexual compatibility of the Leo sign in his younger years. Leo is especially energetic and will find his happiness in the arms of Aries or Sagittarius. A little later, Cancer will make a good match for him, who will be able to give Leo constant confirmation of his own exclusivity. It is necessary to avoid alliances with air signs, since understanding in such relationships is not achievable. Virgo, characteristics of the sign. Sign period: August 24th to September 23rd. Planet: Mercury. Element: Earth. Sign property: changeable, fickle. Virgo is a materialistic nature. The earthly element, which governs her spiritual basis, forces Virgo to pay a lot of attention to various everyday details. For this reason, a representative of this sign is very critical of the shortcomings of other people and the imperfections of the world around him. At the same time, Virgo begins to fight for order, bringing cleanliness to her own home. Virgo's characteristics show that she is very smart. Her intellect combines both logic and developed intuition. However, her tendency to give negative assessments to others does not add to her popularity. Virgo is usually quite attractive, but her desire to remain in the shadows and not attract attention to herself negates this advantage. Virgo is characterized positively in terms of temperament. She almost always behaves with restraint and calm, although sometimes she is enraged by manifestations of excessive rudeness or vulgarity on the part of others. This earthly person carefully handles financial resources. In this area, Virgo's mind dominates. In addition, Virgo, as a rule, strictly fulfills its duties and fulfills its promises. Virgo man. Characteristics. The characteristics of a Virgo man determine his desire to achieve perfection in appearance, deeds and the environment. Most of this earthly man's time is devoted to this, which is why Virgos often remain bachelors. The practicality of a representative of this sign is difficult to surpass. Such a person cannot be called sentimental, but can be positively characterized from the standpoint of intellectual development. He is obligatory and equally demanding of himself and those around him. Virgo has no tendency to provoke risky situations. He stands firmly on his feet and can always soberly assess the situation, because he is an unsurpassed analyst. A common reason for Virgo's loneliness is his excessive pickiness in choosing friends and lovers. Throughout his life, a Virgo man may have only a couple of novels, but both are very serious. Casual relationships are not for him. This position is also facilitated by the modesty of an earthly man. Virgo's chosen one will not see a passionate sparkle in his eyes, but in the relationship there will be unlimited amounts of tenderness, mutual understanding and the deepest affection. The contradiction that the Virgo man's characteristics contain is that he can be a skilled seducer without crossing the line into a platonic relationship for a long time. In general, this man's love is defined as something sublime and bright. The Virgo spouse will be amazed by the feeling of reliability, security and stability that an earthly man gives. In return, he will require a little care and devotion. In addition, you should not take your partner's critical thinking to heart, because this is his essence, and nothing can be done about it. Virgo woman. Characteristics. The Virgo woman is serious and modest. She will never openly demonstrate her superior physical or intellectual abilities, preferring to remain in the shadows. However, this does not detract from its charms. Virgo is demanding of her future partner, and on the way to her happiness you will not meet a more purposeful person. In an already formed union, the characteristics of a Virgo woman indicate her tendency to take the place of a leader. Virgo's natural desire for perfection is fully reflected in her attitude towards her chosen one. In the event that it is impossible to polish the nature of her lover according to her template, and Virgo feels serious discomfort next to this person, nothing can hold her longer than she herself wants. A lady born under the sign of Virgo is fraught with great passion, but not every man is able to ignite this fire. She loves to be sought after, but they do it quite consistently, without haste. Experiencing strong feelings, Virgo can blindly idealize her chosen one, which is unusual for her in other situations. The characteristics of Virgo women testify to her unshakable confidence that she is capable of performing any task better than anyone else. There are good reasons for this. She is smart, neat and punctual. In family relationships, it is difficult to surpass Virgo. She is a wonderful housewife, an excellent cook, a loving but demanding mother and wife. This fragile lady has enough courage to become the support of the family. However, the Virgo man must also fulfill the duties assigned to him. Sexual compatibility of Virgo sign before the age of 30, Virgo can develop a wonderful relationship with Taurus or Capricorn. Taurus, thanks to his gentle disposition, compensates for some of his partner's nervousness, and Capricorn is impressed by Virgo's dedication and practicality. In more mature years, Virgo will make a good match for Leo or Scorpio, enriched by their powerful energy. After 40 years, Virgo will be attracted to the intellectual side of Sagittarius. These two will find a lot in common. Libra, characteristics of the sign. Sign period: September 24th to October 23rd. Planet: Venus. Element: air sign. Property: authoritarian, goal-oriented, cardinal. The characteristics of representatives of the Libra sign indicate that they have a high level of intuitive intelligence. They are excellent conversationalists. Their friendliness and subtle sense of humor can be envied. Libra behaves quite openly and at the same time gently with others, avoiding careless statements and trying not to offend loved ones. In society, Libras give the impression of active, successful people, but not everything is so simple. The nature of these airy people is very contradictory, and at times they themselves suffer from this. The whole life of Libra is a constant balancing act. The search for balance takes up all your energy and free time. Any statement or look that may cause Libra to suspect that someone is treating them badly will not only upset them, but may cause the onset of prolonged depression. Not only the mood of this sign is unstable, but also its state. Periods of amazing energy are abruptly replaced by periods of absolute apathy and loss of interest in the world around them. Reading, one of the most favorite pastimes of these people, can save Libra from self-deprecation and the destructive impact on their own inner world. Libra man, characteristics. The Libra man is to some extent dependent on the opinions of the people around him. To take any serious action, such a person needs someone's approval and support. That's why it's so important for Libra to have an understanding, deeply feeling partner nearby. The characteristics of a Libra man indicate that he is a born seducer. His speeches are always affectionate and shrouded in a warm haze of tenderness, and his eyes seem to look into the soul of his interlocutor. When he does not find a response, his mood immediately changes in the opposite direction. A man born under the sign of Libra is always ready to give valuable advice, because he has a rich store of knowledge behind him, enriched with extraordinary intuitive abilities. In case of disagreements with a friend or lover, he will never resort to open confrontation. His element is calm and silence. This is the only way Libra can feel happy. The main drawback that characterizes a Libra man is indecisiveness and taking too long to weigh the pros and cons. In a relationship, Libra hesitates for a long time to take the last step that will take the couple to a new level. However, if separation is approaching, Libra will not miss the opportunity to convince their partner with their logical arguments of the need to continue the relationship. Expecting unwavering loyalty and devotion from Libra is like counting on snow in the summer. The characteristics of Libra men indicate that this man loves freedom, and there is no point in limiting it. He will still find an outlet for himself. Often this air sign simultaneously enters into relationships with two girls at once, due to his indecision and inner callousness, not knowing which one to leave and which one to continue communicating with. Such situations can last for years until the deception is revealed and one of his chosen ones decides to leave. Despite the friendliness, natural gentleness and ease of communication, it can be quite difficult with Libra. This happens when he falls into periods of depression or feels nostalgic about times long gone. It is almost impossible to get him out of this state. There is only one way out: to give him time, so that he can enjoy the suffering. Yes, Libras do find some kind of charming charm in sitting for hours and looking at old photo albums or listening to music associated with certain events. Having chosen such a partner as your husband, you should not expect a lightning-fast marriage proposal from him. It's better to do it yourself, because you shouldn't forget about his natural indecisiveness. Having become a spouse, the Libra man is strict about the mess in the house. Cleanliness around, as well as justice in everything, is his sore spot. There are cases where these men divorced their wives due to their lack of housekeeping. Libra gets along well with children and is usually generous with expressions of affection in the family. This man is not stingy with money and will gladly spend money to surround himself and his beloved with beauty and comfort. Libra woman. Characteristics: a woman born under the sign of Libra is endowed with the talent to competently conduct discussions. Her logic cannot be called feminine, since it is impeccable. This lady can out-argue any man, while showing sufficient tact. This airy woman is ruled by Venus, so the art of seduction is in her blood. It would seem that she makes no effort, but men fall at her feet and scatter flowers. Usually these women are very beautiful and elegant. The Libra woman's characteristics speak of her constant desire to make her surroundings more beautiful. To do this, she will not spare any money and will even find a well-paid job in order to replace ordinary dullness with something delightful and beautiful. She is able to spend a lot of money on creating a beautiful interior and her own appearance. Clothes, cosmetics, expensive shoes, perfumes, beauty salons. This is the true element of this lady. An integral quality of character, which is reflected in the characteristics of Libra women, is the ability to adapt to their man, sometimes bordering on self-denial. But this only happens if she feels truly loved. Otherwise, it is unlikely that she will live by someone else's laws. However, in marriage, this airy woman will become a real ally and assistant to her husband, supporting him in all his endeavors. However, it is better not to try to subjugate her to your will by force. She will not tolerate it. The only way to influence Libra is affection, tenderness and soft words. This woman is amazing in her combination of weakness and strength. She has a real, natural femininity that is rarely seen these days. But at the same time, in difficult times, he will show such steel and character that many men do not have. Sexual compatibility of the Libra sign in their teenage years. Libra is well compatible with representatives of their native element, Gemini and Aquarius. Their lightness and recklessness appeal to Libra. After 30 years, a good marriage is possible with Scorpio or Aries, who, like air, need the ability to gently balance this sign. In more mature years, Libra will find happiness with representatives of the signs of Pisces and Sagittarius, appreciating their penchant for idealistic romanticism. Scorpio, characteristics of the sign. Sign period: October 24th to November 22nd, planet, Mars, Pluto element, water sign property, stable, constant, fixed. Scorpio is the most mysterious and incomprehensible sign of the zodiac for others. The characteristics of Scorpios say that among them you can find great humanists and complete egoists, materialists and romantics, owners of colossal intelligence and very stupid people. Only one thing is always known: you need to be attentive and careful around this sign, since its actions are difficult to predict. Scorpios are very independent in all their forms. Sometimes they are cruel and cynical. According to their characteristics, astrologers distinguish several types of Scorpio. According to their characteristics, astrologers distinguish several types of Scorpios. Poisonous Scorpios are known for being able to sting their victims with a carefully crafted offensive phrase. Such people are usually vindictive and suspicious. Noble Scorpios are fair and reasonable. In addition, there are also gray lizards. This type is distinguished by a weak character. Usually such Scorpios quietly hate, but on occasion they can even cling to someone who sincerely supported them. Scorpio man. Characteristics: the Scorpio man, although he gives the impression of a cold cynic, is torn apart from the inside by the emotions raging within him. He is very passionate and constantly strives for perfection in everything, be it just the furnishings of his room or his entire life. The characteristics of a Scorpio man testify to his unique natural magnetism and enormous internal energy. In addition, many feel how strongly developed intuition is in that person. It's as if he penetrates the mind and extracts from there exactly what he needs. To marry a Scorpio means to shoulder a huge responsibility. As a rule, this man does not tolerate objections expressed in a harsh form. The characteristics of a Scorpio man indicate a high level of intellectual development and a tendency to find charm in philosophical reasoning. He is really interested in reasoning that touches on the topic of the universe. Among the negative aspects that determine its nature are a tendency to excess in food, alcohol and sex. Intimate relationships are so important for Scorpio that his sensuality sometimes spills out like sparkling wine from a glass. Scorpio's desire to go to the end in everything also applies to his relationships with others. A Scorpio man in love is ready to follow his chosen one to the ends of the earth, and it doesn't matter whether she reciprocates his feelings. As a friend, Scorpio is as loyal and reliable as you can imagine. But it is better not to become an enemy of this person. In the fight against an ill-wisher, Scorpio is ready to do anything. The characteristic dual nature of the Scorpio man makes him unpredictable. This person extremely rarely gives others a smile, but when this happens, it is a completely sincere manifestation of friendliness. The Scorpio man is perhaps the only representative of the Zodiac circle who can boast of such an incredible balance of intellectual and emotional principles. Having entered into marriage, Scorpio will immediately give his wife a clear idea of who is the master in their family. However, this does not detract from the strength that Scorpio is ready to fiercely direct to protect their loved ones. Next to him, any woman will be like behind a stone wall. In addition, a loving Scorpio, despite his domineering habits, will be very gentle and caring with his wife. Scorpio woman. Characteristics: a woman born under the sign of Scorpio is beautiful and feminine, but at the same time she has powerful inner strength. She is very attractive and sexy, and it is rare that a man will not notice this. Lady Scorpio lives and relaxes with taste, enjoying life and communicating with people. The characteristics of the Scorpio woman indicate that this lady is very wise, and her wisdom literally borders on cunning. Being by nature dominant in a relationship with a man, she can so skillfully disguise her strong character behind expressive femininity and elegance that her partner will never guess in his life that it is actually his chosen one who is in charge. The Scorpio woman makes high demands on her future husband. He must be smart, strong in character, endowed with external attractiveness and a high degree of masculinity. This lady will feel her man immediately thanks to her highly developed intuition and will do everything possible to achieve his favor. She usually does this very well. In addition, the characteristics of Scorpio women speak of her cleanliness, love of money, or rather the opportunities it provides, as well as moderate severity in her relationship with children. This lady treats those around her rather arrogantly, since she respects only the most powerful and purposeful people. Sexual compatibility of the Scorpio sign in his younger years. It is best for Scorpio to enter into a relationship with Cancer or Pisces, since they are related by emotionality. Later, Scorpio will find his happiness in the arms of Capricorn or Virgo, as he is impressed by their determination. After 40 years, this representative of the water element will want to see a partner with whom they will find a common desire for intellectual improvement. These are, as a rule, the signs of Sagittarius and Aquarius. Sagittarius. Characteristics of the sign. Sign period: November 23 to December 21. Planet: Jupiter. Element: fire sign. Property: changeable, fickle, mutable. Sagittarius is a full-fledged representative of the fire element, and his explosive temperament confirms this. This sign is an example of a harmonious combination of internal and external energy. The characteristics of Sagittarius show that he is open to communication and friendly with others, which deservedly gives him the title of public favorite. At the same time, this is a rather freedom-loving type who is sensitive to any attacks on his own freedom. A Sagittarius' kind heart and sincere attitude towards people cannot be taken away from him, but he is often ruined by excessive impulsiveness. In addition, this fire sign often affects the interests of others and, even trying to protect them, often encounters misunderstanding. According to their characteristics, astrologers, not without reason, distinguish two types of Sagittarius: noble, idealistic seekers of truth, vaguely reminiscent of Robin Hood, as well as greedy, resourceful financiers, ready to erase any obstacle in their path. The latter can be unbearable in their desire to achieve power and money. Sagittarius, like other representatives of the fire element, hate any manifestation of criticism. These hot-tempered people will reject even sincere, kind advice in the most impartial way, offending the person who showed concern. Sagittarius man, characteristics: this strong, cheerful man is endowed with the ability to remain frank and talkative even in the most awkward situations. Perhaps his tact leaves much to be desired, but such is the nature of a fiery man. The characteristics of a Sagittarius man also indicate that he can truly be friends, showing great patience and understanding for the shortcomings of loved ones. Sagittarius enjoys public attention because he always starts interesting conversations. At times he is childishly spontaneous and carries a strong charge of positivity. Among other things, this man has truly rare luck. He is very successful in business. Most likely, this is due to the fact that he easily finds a common language with people. In relationships with others, the Sagittarius man seeks real interest in communication. This sign avoids closed and gloomy people, but it is always happy to exchange a few words with the same open type. His sense of humor invariably finds its connoisseurs. The fiery man has few enemies, but Sagittarius does not take even those seriously, because his endless optimism does not allow him to react to their malicious attacks. Many people consider Sagittarius to be cruel and tactless, but this comes from him unintentionally. At heart he is a very kind person, and he can offend someone only due to his inattention. The characteristics of a Sagittarius man indicate that he is characterized by some frivolity and a superficial attitude towards love affairs. It is difficult to discern deep sensuality and the ability to experience strong affection in this variety-loving nature. As a rule, before getting married, Sagittarius manages to be disappointed in many women, but this does not make him despondent. He, as before, is cheerful and cheerful. And, of course, full of hope to find the one and only one. A man born under the sign of Sagittarius does not have a penchant for long-term relationships. The secret to conquering and keeping this fire sign close to you is to provide him with the necessary degree of freedom in everything. Then he will be gentle and attentive with his beloved. It should also be remembered that Sagittarius loves economical women who know how to create an atmosphere of warmth and comfort in the home. Sagittarius woman characteristics: the Sagittarius woman is the embodiment of friendliness. She is always full of enthusiasm and is ready to accommodate anyone who wants to initiate communication with her. Among the shortcomings that define the characteristics of a Sagittarius woman are excessive straightforwardness and lack of tact. This lady is by no means a flirt. She prefers to behave naturally with men and often acts as a combat friend or daughter of a regiment. A fiery woman's requirements for her chosen one are not high. She can fall in love not because of, but in spite of, clinging to one particular trait of a man, for example, an optimistic view of the world around him. However, it is not so easy to persuade this lady to marry. She is very independent and freedom-loving. While still a teenager, she most likely left her parents' home to support herself. The Sagittarius woman does not like manifestations of weakness in a man's character, and can even openly tell him about it. She likes strong, purposeful, interesting people, and there are quite a few of them around her, because they feel the powerful energy emanating from this lady. The characteristics of a Sagittarius woman speak of her boundless kindness. She will never refuse help if you ask her for something. But you just need to ask, and not command, otherwise you can push her away from you. Lady Sagittarius is not very economical. She would be more suitable not for a man inclined to house building, but for a sensitive, friendly partner who loves freedom, just like her. Sexual compatibility of the sign Sagittarius. Before the age of 30, Sagittarius will find a like-minded person in the person of Aries or Leo. Their energy will merge together and create a powerful flow. In addition, partners will be quite independent. In later years, Sagittarius may meet Virgo or Gemini. Both signs have a strong intellectual basis. After 40 years, Sagittarius can find happiness with Taurus or Libra, who can easily tolerate the presence of a power-hungry partner. Capricorn, characteristics of the sign. Sign period: December 22nd to January 20th. Planet: Saturn. Element: Earth. Sign property: authoritarian. Goal-oriented people born under the sign of Capricorn are distinguished by their incredible strength of purposefulness and resistance to various kinds of life difficulties. The Capricorn characteristic is the embodiment of strength and spirit, be it a woman or a man. There is no task that this true representative of the borrowed element cannot cope with. At the same time, they are proud and self-confident, which often becomes the cause of conflicts with others and misunderstandings in relationships with loved ones. Capricorn has the only weak feature, the inability to establish contacts with the outside world, which causes serious mental suffering to this sign. Often this drawback creates additional difficulties on the path to fulfillment of cherished desires. Usually Capricorn has to be content with a rather narrow circle of selected people who are able to understand him. The characteristics of Capricorns show that they are born conservatives. They highly value the established moral foundations of the family and the society in which they move. Traditions and moral restrictions become the only restraining force for earthly people, which does not allow them to fully demonstrate their desire for power. Among the most brutal dictators around the world, most of them are Capricorns, because they have a real storm going on in their souls, giving impetus to an irrepressible desire to suppress those around them. Capricorn man, characteristics: outwardly calm and incredibly calm. This earthly man clearly knows what he wants from life and systematically moves towards achieving his goal. The characteristics of a Capricorn man indicate that he has extraordinary willpower, which makes the representative of this sign the most disciplined of the entire zodiac circle. The Capricorn man is invulnerable. It is impossible to argue with him, because he is convinced that his opinion should be the only correct one. Capricorn sees his main task as achieving public recognition and receiving all the benefits that are bestowed upon avid careerists. He craves power, money, and this is not an empty phrase for him. A Capricorn who has not achieved anything in life is a rare occurrence, because these people are so demanding of themselves and those around them that it is almost impossible to stray from the intended path. At the same time, Capricorn does not like cunning. He is so direct and honest with himself that he prefers hard work to any adventures. The characteristics of a Capricorn man indicate his reliability and down-to-earthness. Even in his romantic dreams, he imagines rather tangible objects and strives only for what he considers possible to obtain. In relations with his chosen one, Capricorn will be honest and open. He will not build castles in the air and promise the obviously unattainable. But if this man has outlined the horizons that he is going to conquer for his beloved, she can be sure that this will happen. Perhaps Capricorn lacks sensuality, and his woman will suffer from his excessive straightforwardness and desire to rationalize everything. He is often categorical and capable of cruelly offending his partner with a careless statement. But every woman who has chosen Capricorn as a spouse can have no doubt that their family ties will be strong and reliable. And the man of this sign will take upon himself the entire material basis of their life together. Assuming full responsibility for the family, Capricorn chooses his life partner very carefully and carefully. She must certainly be smart, reasonable, have good taste and pleasant appearance. The lady whom Capricorn marries will make an indelible impression on those around her. Capricorn woman, characteristics. No other representative of the zodiac circle can boast of such independence and an almost painful desire for independence. This woman is the embodiment of practicality, determination. She approaches any issue thoroughly. The characteristics of the Capricorn woman indicate that this lady is very diligent in business and tries to surpass everyone, even if she does not have any special talents. Most women born under the sign of Capricorn are very attractive, and over the years their beauty only becomes brighter. The characteristics of a Capricorn woman indicate that she has a large number of complexes formed in childhood, as a rule, due to a not very cordial relationship with her parents. All her life this lady has been trying to overcome them, but the path she chooses is not the easiest. For years she has been instilling in herself the idea that all problems can be solved by hard work and achieving a good position in society. Therefore, all her efforts are aimed at developing her career. However, family for a Capricorn woman is something sacred. Without a loving husband and adored children, she loses interest in everything. Even to money and authority, which she managed to achieve through incredible efforts. For this earthly woman, the warmth of the hearth and the understanding of loved ones are very important. She also values her friends very much, of whom there are usually few, but all of them become truly family. The characteristics of women of the Capricorn sign reflect such qualities as openness and directness in communication. This lady is not used to cunning in any of its forms. In addition, she sincerely believes that everything in life is given according to merit, and if something turns out to be too easy to achieve, difficulties will arise in the future. Possessing great inner strength, the Capricorn woman wants to see an even stronger man next to her. One of the main requirements for a partner is the ability to provide the material basis for their cohabitation. Even if she herself makes good money, she still needs the financial support of her chosen one. This shows her down-to-earth nature. Sexual compatibility of the Capricorn sign in his youth. The best pair with Capricorn will be made by representatives of his native, earthly element, Taurus and Virgo. Here all three signs can find the stability they need so much. After 30 years, the best partner for Capricorn is Scorpio, since he has the business acumen, intelligence and cunning that the earth sign admires so much. After 40 years, Capricorns become more spiritual and begin to lean towards humanistic aspirations. Here Pisces, who are naturally prone to self-sacrifice, will be an excellent companion for them. Aquarius, characteristics of the sign. Sign period: January 21st to February 19th, planet, Saturn, Uranus element, air sign property, stable, constant. A representative of the Aquarius sign can surprise his friends with his extravagance and crazy antics like no other. This person is freedom-loving and curious, which does not allow him to stay in one place for a long time. The characteristics of Aquarius show that he is obsessively friendly, but does not always have sufficient tact, which becomes an obstacle in communicating with others. Aquarius always strives for new adventures without focusing on one thing. Of all the signs, Aquarius can be characterized as the most unpredictable. Aquarius man, characteristics. The characteristics of Aquarius men indicate their excessive concentration on themselves, as well as the fact that they prefer easy, relaxed relationships. A man born under the sign of Aquarius is a great friend. In difficult times, he will always be there and help, no matter what the cost. However, when it comes to a woman, he easily changes one partner after another, as soon as the stage of romantic courtship ends and interest cools down. The Aquarius man is usually a creative person, open to everything beautiful. This person is quite talented and can remain in the shadows only due to his inability to obey the harsh rules of the modern show business system. When choosing a life partner, Aquarius will stop when he meets a sensitive nature, who knows how to support her lover in difficult life moments, but who meekly retreats when her man wants to be alone or simply unwind. Perhaps not everyone wants to build relationships in this way, but Aquarius is also not a completely ordinary person. The characteristics of the Aquarius man give the idea that it is unusual for him to pay much attention to any material aspirations. He is indifferent to the financial side of life, so he is quite calm about money and can leave his savings safe and sound for a long time. In relationships with women, Aquarius experiences neither jealousy nor a sense of possessiveness. He believes that there should be mutual interest between lovers. Ladies should remember that Aquarius loves here and now, and you should not count on constancy next to him. In general, the Aquarius man should be perceived as he is, since any attempts to change his rebellious nature will lead to the rapid flight of this airy man. Aquarius woman. Characteristics: a woman born under the sign of Aquarius is an absolute manifestation of outrageousness in its original form. Not every man will dare to accompany such a lady, since those who are especially conservative will have to blush because of her extravagant actions. This lady is one of the few who likes to combine incompatible things, both in clothes and in behavior. Having met her at a social event, you may be surprised to find bright sneakers with studs peeking out from under the train of an evening dress. And this is far from the limit of the capabilities of a real Aquarius. Be that as it may, the main value of the Aquarius woman is her freedom. This lady will not exchange freedom for any feelings, even if she is promised lifelong stability and strong family ties. It is quite possible that this will even frighten her, since she is used to being her own mistress and is not ready to submit to even the most beautiful man. The characteristics of the Aquarius woman indicate that she is an incredibly interesting conversationalist, and it is unlikely that anyone can refuse her company, even if it is very short and fleeting. The professional activity of a woman born under the sign of Aquarius cannot be associated with strict discipline. The creative field is a wonderful area for developing her talents. In search of the ideal man, this lady will choose someone who is quite calm about her irrepressible need for constant movement, communication with friends, combined with rejection of any type of control from her partner. Simply put, she will go wherever she wants, at any time of the day. However, we are not talking about betrayal here. This trait of the Aquarius woman rather speaks of an obsessive desire for the constant development of events and the search for adventure. Her chosen one must treat this with understanding, otherwise the relationship will end before it even begins. Sexual compatibility of Aquarius sign during the years of youthful exploration. The sign of Aquarius is well compatible with partners such as Gemini and Libra. In such a relationship there will definitely be a slight weightlessness and lack of strict obligations. At the same time, Gemini will become a source of intellectual stimulation, and Libra will bestow balance and harmony. After 30 years, Aquarius can find their happiness next to Virgo or Aries. During this period, the sign of Aquarius becomes more down to earth, and will be impressed by the rationalization of Virgo. Aries will become the embodiment of ambitions that require implementation. Pisces, characteristics of the sign. Sign period: February 20th to March 20th, planet: Neptune. Element: water sign. Property: changeable, fickle. Pisces are the brightest representatives of the water element. They are born dreamers and quite romantic natures. The characteristics of Pisces show that there is absolutely no rationality in them, but you can see with the naked eye the constant construction of castles in the air and painfully humanistic aspirations. They are well aware of all the shortcomings of their nature, and can easily be ironic about this. However, never allow others to joke about you. Representatives of the Pisces sign create the impression of being weak and helpless, and this helps them easily receive the support of strangers. However, they themselves are very kind and sympathetic, and friends often overstep their boundaries, selfishly putting pressure on Pisces' soft-heartedness. Pisces are very generous. If someone needs their money, they will gladly share it without thinking about the consequences. At the same time, these people are very passive in achieving their plans. It's good if there is a person nearby who will help bring the fish's plans to life. Pisces man. Characteristics: a man born under the sign of Pisces usually has a wide variety of talents, but they are always waiting for some opportunity that may never come. Such a man definitely needs the support of a sober-minded person. This could be a parent, uncle, aunt, spouse, or close friend. Be that as it may, the characteristics of the Pisces man speak of the need to constantly push him to new achievements, otherwise everything will remain at the level of castles in the air. These watermen are big dreamers. They can easily exaggerate their capabilities, even if this is not necessary. They constantly swim in their waters, and cannot feel solid ground under their feet. In fact, this is their nature, and demanding stability and reliability from Pisces is a great luxury. It is very difficult for Pisces to find their place in the real world, much less build a career and achieve success in the professional field. The most successful option would be if this man has a desire to conquer some niche at a very young age. Then he will easily plunge into a new, not yet comprehended world. The characteristics of the Pisces man testify to his external secrecy. No one will see the slightest manifestation of emotion on the face of such a man, with the exception of those closest to him. However, the smile of a man born under the sign of Pisces in this case becomes a real gift. Analyzing the nature of this water sign, one cannot help but mention the boundless sensuality and hidden emotionality that accompanies the Pisces man with a special aura throughout his life. Pisces do not strive to create a family and have children. They do not tolerate short affairs and are supporters of long-term relationships, but this is not enough to form a family union. Therefore, the ideal life partner for Pisces would be a woman with a little more willpower and reasonable enough, who can skillfully push her lover to choose the right decisions. Pisces woman, characteristics: Lady Pisces is the embodiment of femininity and romance. She has the talent of seduction and can win the hearts of many men. Such a woman feels good among representatives of high society, and stubbornly strives to get into their company. The characteristics of the Pisces woman speak of her reluctance to be distracted by minor everyday problems. She seems to live in a fantasy world, and does not want to sink to the sinful earth at all. The sentimentality of this lady makes her painfully susceptible to any manifestations of rudeness and cruelty. The characteristics of a Pisces woman also reflect the dependence of her internal state on the phases of the moon. Like any other water sign, Pisces thrives during full moon periods. They are active, and at this time the widest scope for activity opens up for them. However, in the process of the growth of this heavenly body, Pisces women can fall into severe depression. Lady Pisces is absolutely non-conflict. It is difficult to bring her to the level of open confrontation, since she always strives for an amicable resolution of conflicts. In addition, she is quite soft and delicate, which helps her find an approach to the toughest and most unpredictable people. Pisces is a creative person, full of experiences. The characteristics of her emotions affect all aspects of life and are so multifaceted that they amaze those around her. She knows how to truly empathize, but she cannot cope with ordinary everyday difficulties. This suggests that the most suitable partner for Pisces will be the one who will support her in this harsh material world, and at the same time be fueled by the powerful energy and magnetism that emanate from this representative of the water element. Sexual compatibility of the Pisces sign. The young years of representatives of the Pisces sign are full of searches for something mysterious and hidden. Cancers and Scorpios will be able to help them with this. The latter are most attractive to Pisces due to their desire for power and desire to take the reins of the relationship into their own hands. A more mature age is characterized by the achievement of harmony in alliance with Libra or Aquarius. Libra perfectly balances the dreamy nature of Pisces, and Aquarius is very congenial for Pisces.